Start in a second. I think sit down there, but good morning, thanks so much for being here. We're gonna turn the Zoom on for the people that are joining us from remote locations, but welcome to our November membership town hall. I'm Beth Donovan, I'm part of the board, and just wanted to say thank you to, as we always kick these off, to Bob and his team for all the things that they do for us to make it such a great experience for our community. So round of applause. We're gonna go through the agenda here. Unless anything were to do it. I just want to put the agenda up on this. Oh, you got it. So if you notice, we're trying to learn over time. If you remember, for those of you that have been here before, we had all the food up there, and of course, I'm the same as you. I'm not gonna walk in front of all the other members and go over and get 6 cupcakes and go back to my seat. So we moved into the bags, it's open there, you kind of see, get some stuff, and for those of you at home, hopefully you have great stuff going on. So anyway, we're gonna, again, as we've done all along, and we did get some questions ahead of time, and we'll cover those in the Q&A section. If you have questions, we're going through people that are remote, please text it to that number, and please identify yourself, because if you don't identify yourself, we don't have any way to get back to you, so please do that. We won't respond to the questions where we don't get anybody identifying themselves, just so you know, because it's very difficult for us to follow if we don't know who it is. But we are gonna cover the scorecard just quickly. As you know, we're on this journey with the strategic plans. You know, we all approved that as the entire membership, and now we have what we call key performance indicators, or a scorecard. I think we're familiar with the scorecard. Thank you, Amber. You can cha-cha too. And so, you know, it's important not just to have things that we wanna do, but to hold ourselves accountable to certain metrics we're together. So Bob's gonna talk about that in a minute. Then obviously just overall governance, obviously committees are kicked off, which is great. And obviously in concert with what the strategic plan is. Then we'll talk about golf operations, all the team members, all the leads, we'll get up and talk about, so golf ops, golf course landscape maintenance, food and beverage ops, sports and wellness, financial update, capital protection, and membership initiation fees. We are getting closer to satisfying that first half of the debt for phase 1, so some good news coming on that. We wanna just give an update as we've been doing kind of every quarter for the last year. And then, obviously, a big part of the fabric of our community is the fact that we don't just think about what we're doing inside or on the island here. We actually think about what surrounds us, and there's a lot of people in this community that do a lot of things for others, and so there's a lot of things to get involved in, and quite frankly, it's a great way to come together, and that's what we've seen over time. And then I'm gonna give an update on the cell tower, so we've got some information on that. And then we'll talk a little bit about member code of conduct, and then just some final thoughts from Bob on the Q&A. So I'm gonna hand it over to Bob to go through Vision 2030 and the scorecard. Thank you.
Perfect, thanks, Beth. It's a great day to be a Twin Eagles member, right? Kicked off the season, a lot of events. I think Rich had said we had 7 golf events already this year. To the start of season, Tee Time Task Force said, hey, look, to add some tee time inventory, let's start the season earlier. And hopefully the tee time compaction is a little bit better, a little bit more improved, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in the agenda. But great start to the season. We have worked very hard since my onboarding back in January with the strategic plan, the finance committee, the board, the team, putting together and finally coming up with the final Vision 2030 draft. And that was approved by the board recently and has been posted on the website for your review. We sent it out last night in a club operations update. There is a scorecard that corresponds with the strategic plan and ties back to the annual survey that you all completed in March-ish, February, March. And we are diligent on and really focused on all those key objectives. We have goals internally, each department, so we make sure that we're holding each other accountable internally and the members can hold us accountable. We're gonna be doing a quarterly update. We had our first strategic planning meeting, committee meeting last week. Maybe this week, all the days are running together, but so we're focused on accountability to that plan, and we'll be communicating as we move forward on a quarterly basis at a minimum, so you can see where we're at. Are we ahead, are we behind? And so you can expect a financial update from the finance committee, right? You can expect a strategic planning update from the strategic planning committee on a quarterly basis, and you'll continue, as the membership has requested, to get a grievance update on a quarterly basis from the board of directors. Club committee meetings are in full swing. I think we had 8 committee meetings last week, all the club committees. We had an LRNC meeting. We've had grievance committee meetings. So there's a lot going on. It's great. We're getting a lot of feedback from all of you, and the team is reacting to your requests. LRNC, we've talked about this in previous meetings. Kudos to that group. We've had several meetings over the summer, half a dozen to a dozen meetings. We've added 2 more committee members. I think we spoke about that to broaden the outreach of that group. We've brought on 2 former board members to give us some historical perspective, right? And we've involved the LRNC this past season in the selection of the club committees. They made recommendations, reviewed applications. So we believe that this committee is more diverse, brings a lot of skill and experience, not only here, but at other clubs to the table. We also did recently a board assessment, internal assessment. How does the board think they're functioning? How the board thinks we can improve from a business perspective? We shared a skills and experience assessment that the board did with the LRNC. What skills do we have? What skills do we need? How are we doing? What do we think we're gonna need in the future? The 3 board members who roll off at this election, what skills do they bring to the table? Do we have a void when they leave? So we can be a little more strategic in the approach to the solicitation of board applicants. But clearly the applications timeline window is open. The application deadline is Monday, December 2nd. So if you have any interest in serving the club, you want to be a board member, you want to contribute your thoughts, experiences, skills to the betterment of what we're doing here at Twin Eagles, please contact a board member, an LRNC committee member, myself, and we can let you know what that looks like, the time requirements, and whether it's a good fit for you now. If it's not a good fit for you now, we encourage you to consider it in the future. Committees are a great way to get your foot in the door and see how the governance model looks, and hopefully that's a normal progression to being a board member. All right, golf operations, a lot going on in golf. Rich, come on up. I'll swap you.
I think we might have figured out a way to open up some tea times, Bob, on a regular basis. We'll just have a town hall meeting every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, busy start to the season, but let's get through this, cause I know we're time sensitive. Pace of play policy effective immediately, the golf committee along with the board has approved a policy. But really, it's like one of those things, do we really need a pace of play policy, right? I mean, should we have to have one? You know, we all have a GPS system on our cards. It's gonna tell you whether you're on time, behind time, or ahead of time. We can communicate that to you right through the GPS system. So really, you know, we're asking you, just be more aware of your group and the location you're in regards to everybody else on the golf course, but also in respect of time, okay? If we have to, we will send you a reminder over the GPS system. Now for walkers, that's a little different, okay? We don't have a way of monitoring walkers. We can only tell where you are based on where carts are in front of you or behind you, okay? So, and we can't communicate obviously with you with a GPS system, so we have to come out and see you directly. So anyway, keep that in mind if you're walking. Obviously you're being watched. So, but yeah, just be mindful of your location in regards to everybody else. So, very helpful, be at the first tee at your designated time. Doesn't mean checking in with a starter, means being at the first tee, ready to hit that tee shot at your designated time. And what to expect if your group runs overtime. Friendly reminders from the golf staff, either myself or Bob will send you an email. Helpful tips on how maybe you can improve. And then we have a 4-step process if we have to continue after that, if it continues to be a problem, so. Hole-in-one club policy, annual beginning January 1, if you're in it now, you will have to renew again January 1, it's elective. We are changing it slightly, or maybe not so slightly. Instead of 7 days, you're still gonna get the drink coupons down at it's Doug and Jim's favorite thing to do downstairs in the golf shop is to print out coupons, so. But instead of 7 days, now you only have 2 days to use those, $250 credit in the golf shop. Your name will go on the plaque in the golf lobby, and we're gonna get another board because the other one's full. So we're gonna add another board, so we'll get that all updated. So, and the plaque will not come along with it, but you can purchase it with your golf shop credit, so. USG handicap policy. First of all, posting scores. If you do not post a score, you will be reminded not once, not twice, but 3 times. The 3rd time you will receive a penalty score. And that's by requirement of us being involved with Jim and the USGA. We don't have a choice on that. You will again get a reminder, and it's simple to do if you don't feel like that was accurate. Maybe your score wasn't postable, maybe you did post it and maybe you did it on the wrong day. You will have an opportunity to correct that yourself just by following the links in the email, okay? Even if you do get a penalty score, you can correct that too. So just be mindful of that and let us know how we can help you with that. I was on the phone with Joe Stein from the Florida State Golf Association this morning. The USGA has a new review tool. This is basically in response to Cap Patrol, which some of you may know or don't know about, but effectively what the USGA review tool is it's based on numbers in the handicap system. It doesn't know if you're playing in a tournament or not. And it's brand new, so it effectively, according to Joe, is kind of in the state of almost beta testing. So there'll probably be tweaks to it, but in relationship to Cap Patrol only deals with tournament scores. Nobody really knows what that algorithm is. All I can tell you is the guy who invented it told me that if you win a tournament, he's not gonna let you win another one. So it's a little severe. It's a little severe, yeah, anyway, so look more for the USGA and we'll update you a little bit on that, but the handicap committee will be meeting soon. I know we lost one member of the committee, we're adding somebody into that committee to assist. I can tell you as far as handicaps too, Bonita Bay, the handicap chairman over there, ran a test on 96 players playing in an event. 24 of them came back as needing adjustments on their handicap. 24, that's 25% of the field. So that doesn't really tell you anybody's cheating. It tells you that there's something wrong with the handicap system, is what it's telling you. So, club championship format, we're gonna change that. We're just gonna do one event this year. We're gonna do it by tees, not age, okay? So you get to select the tee that you wanna play for in the championship, and we'll have gross and net winners in each flight. Couples events, championship events, we're gonna do married or on the same membership is what's required to compete in those. We are gonna have mixed events where you can pick your own partner, and we're gonna try to add a Jack and Jill event so that you can do that, which I think would be kind of fun anyway. But I'll let you decide that at home. We're gonna try to determine when we can have an event like that. Himalayan putting green program, monthly events to come, but beginning in December, we'll have one in December, January, February, and March. And probably one of those will be a nighttime event or a glow event. League play, that begins January 6th, 8 consecutive weeks, just like we've always done, starting January 6th, and it'll run through the end of February. We do have a rain date on March 3. Al Jones, thank you. I don't think Al's probably here today, but Al Jones is stepping aside from running the men's league for the first time in how many, 18, 20 years, something like that. So anyway, so that is now gonna be a club sponsored event. We're gonna not do cash, we're gonna do golf shop credit for that, but we'll talk about that more later, so. And then also thank you to Nancy Brown and Dodie Spontak for your help with the ladies too as well. But this will now be a club event moving forward. Finally, reminders, men's and ladies invitational information and registration will be announced soon. Ladies is March 20 and 21, men's is April 2 through 4. Member guest fees and registration, remember members have to pay all guest related fees. And we ask that you register your guests in the golf shop prior to play. And then 48-hour cancellation for all golf events and food and beverage events has been established, and we really need to do that for a lot of reasons golf wise. We have food and beverage that we're ordering for the event, and we also we're doing pairings, we're doing flights or whatever. I mean, just for the ladies ringer event, you can't imagine how often we have to change flights and whatnot. So anything else, Bob? Good?
I think that's it.
Huh?
I think that's it. I'll make one comment on the pace of play policy. So this policy went on back and forth, committee members, team, board for 2-3 months. And I think we finally landed on a policy that everybody could get on board with. Please know that the team, if they come out and talk to you on the golf course, be kind, be respectful. The team's just trying to enforce the policy for the betterment of and enjoyment of all members. We already had an incident this weekend where a team member went out, had an interaction, team came in. Interaction didn't need to happen the way it did. So just know that the golf team's gonna be out there. We've heard loud and clear in the member survey that we want a 4-hour pace of play. And we're committed to providing that. We're gonna have more team members out and about on the golf course, more visible. We're gonna herd everybody to that first tee on the Eagle as quickly as we can. We want balls in the air at their tee time, right? We don't wanna get behind. And there was one more comment I wanted to make. Oh, there's this misconception among members that walkers play slower, right? So the talent lends itself more to walking, right? It's a lot easier to walk because the distance between greens and tees are a lot shorter. The Eagle course takes a little more time, right? It's more of a developer course. The distance between greens and tees is longer in many areas. But I know we had a walking group playing 3 hours and 45 minutes on the Eagle this past weekend, so it can be done, right? And walking is, and we're gonna talk more about this unfortunately later in the presentation, but Walking, it's a competitive advantage, right? There's not many clubs in South Florida that allow it. And as long as we can maintain an acceptable pace of play, which we're committed to, we wanna keep that as a privilege of membership. And I think that's it.
Yeah, I would just add to that, I would agree with you on walking, I mean, it's, healthy active lifestyles here in Southwest Florida. And I think it's something to embrace and let everybody know about, because walking is a big part of the game, especially up north, I mean, it's not often. And so there's no reason why we can't do it here.
And you won't see me walking, I'll be in a cart. I can't do it anymore, I'm too old.
I'll be reminded you to pick up your pace.
Yeah. Alright. Gabe Gallo, come on up. What's Ruby? Alright, Ruby's napping. It's that on switch.
That work?
There we go, and you have to move over here, you gotta be on there you go.
We're
You gotta
good?
be on the carpet, right? Yeah, I won't pick you up,
Alright, well, thanks for having me. I'm
absolutely.
still new here, learning the ropes, but general course conditions, Talon and Eagle, obviously two separate courses. The Eagle itself is long overdue, I think, for renovation, in my opinion. We've got some irrigation challenges there, we've got some contamination issues and obviously some drainage issues throughout the course, but nothing we can't work and try to gear towards and improve in the years to come. Talon course, beautiful golf course. There are some bunker challenges that we have on Talon, and some miscellaneous areas as well. Practice areas, fairly good. We do have some challenges on the back of the actual range, but it's a fairly large team complex, in my opinion. We'll see when we get in the full swing of season how the divots recover from that area, but we'll continue to fertilize and give nutrients to that area to try to help improve. But speaking of ongoing cultural practices and agronomy, we haven't even scratched the surface on our program yet. We're still utilizing some of the materials that we have in stock, and we didn't have any kind of soil reports until recently. They just got back. So we have a better understanding on what nutrient programs we'll be implementing. We still have programs in place as far as bi-weekly, monthly, that kind of stuff, the basic nutrients that we need, but we haven't even scratched the surface as far as the health, I guess you'd say, of the turf itself. So we'll continue to see improvements, especially in the summertime. We can implement some of those nutrients in the irrigation holes. Which summer 2025, that's kind of what we're planning on, some of those drainage projects and cultural practices, hooking up some of the contractors that we have ready to go, so we can get the ball running in May of 2025.
You want me to take this one?
Yeah,
You sure you don't wanna talk about Talon bunkers?
we can.
I really prefer that you talk about it, but I'll talk about it. Alright. Here we go. Talon bunkers. So the members said in the survey and around the club since I've been here, Talon bunkers are bad. We had a meeting with the owner of Capillary Concrete, the general contractor who installed the bunkers, did the renovation here at Twin Eagles. We talked to the team, we talked to board members, and some decisions were made during the process, intentional decisions. And the bunkers aren't performing the way we all expect, okay? There's plenty of room to go around, and it's really, really hard to hold the Capillary Concrete solely responsible, Nicholas Design Group solely responsible, the board, the golf course superintendent, right? There were decisions made, and we are where we're at, and what's the standard of bunkers? We had lots of conversations with club council. Some clubs don't maintain bunkers, some clubs do maintain bunkers. are all the bunkers not performing? Is it the drainage? Is it the system that was installed, right? So really trying to take a legal course of action wasn't recommended by club council and determined that wasn't our best course of action, that we felt between the team decisions that were made, we were equally responsible for where we're at today. And keep in mind, this is 3-4 years ago when all this occurred. So we did a test. I think we did 7 test bunkers. Bunkers are performing. So what, now what? We've talked about it in the Green and Grounds Committee. We've talked about it at the board level. Gabe and I have talked about it at length. We got 2 different bids for the bunker construction. If we wanna keep capillary concrete, it in total cost north of $1.3 million. If we wanna go to a better system, Bunker Solutions, we're looking at $1.8 million. So cash flows don't allow us to spend all that money all in one summer to address the bunkers. So for the purpose of the capital budget, we got bids from both companies to do a 3-year phased approach. And so that's where the number of $445,000 got into the budget. It was a placeholder at the time until the Green and Grounds Committee could meet, discuss it. We could have further discussion on what Gabe's thoughts were when he came on board. What could he do to improve the bunkers until we can get a full renovation done? And we recently have had conversations at the Greens and Grounds, other committees, including the board. And I personally don't think, and I think the committees and the board members don't think that we wanna do a phased approach. That, do we really wanna inconvenience members for 3 summers in a row, right? It's fine for those that go up north, right, for the summer, but for the members that are here, do we really wanna have a 6 holes, 6 holes, 6 holes over a 3-year period because of cash flow? We think there's a better way. We think that we should defer that renovation to summer of 2026. That next summer, we should take that $445,000 and use that money to address another strategic item, which is extending the life of the Eagle Course. So we can still make improvements to the overall golf experience. And we think this is a more effective, more efficient use of your capital dollars. So we talked at length, again, with the member groups, committees, and it's our recommendation, and it was supported by the Greens and Grounds, and I believe the Finance Committee also had this discussion. And that we do just that, we defer a full renovation to the summer of 2026, let Gabe see what he can do to keep the bunkers better, more playable. I mean, they're not horrible out there right now, right? They're playable, they're not ideal, right? There's some challenges, let him address those, and we'll defer that 445 to the drainage and the irrigation and some other projects to make the Eagle more playable for more days, right? We close a lot because we can't get golf carts through some particular areas of the golf course. So if we improve drainage in those areas, maybe we install a couple cart paths, we get irrigation, so it's more pinpointed and more effective, so we're not just running heads out 360, contributing to an already wet golf course, because we can't efficiently water irrigate the golf course. We think that's a better use of dollars. The other thing with the 3-year approach, there's an escalator for labor and mobilization costs, so if we do 3 years, there's 10% in mobilization added in, there's labor costs 5% added in, it just doesn't make sense to me. So that's, it hasn't been approved, it's been recommended by the Greens and Grounds, it's been blessed, by other committees. And it'll go to the board and we will communicate back out on what the plan's gonna be. And we'll talk about it if there's any questions in the Q&A. What I missed? Anything on that? And I know it's an emotional topic, I've heard it, I'm just trying to fix it. I've been here 9 months, it's been an issue for 3 years, 4 years, I'm just trying to fix it. And I think it's a good approach. Couple of other things, couple other items, golf course equipment replacement. Carl approved a $1.9 million equipment replacement package. And that was almost a year ago, or maybe a year plus ago. Believe it or not, some of that equipment now is just rolling off the assembly line. So we don't even have our core mowers, really the workhorse mowers that we need. But it's starting to trickle in. And as we get the mowers that we need, things will get better. We'll have less hydraulic leaks on the golf course. I know there's a lot of members that are upset about how can we still have hydraulic leaks? Well, we still have 25-year-old mowers. Like, nobody uses 25-year-old mowers anymore. We've replaced hoses, we've replaced lines, these mowers, they don't even make them with a hydraulic system. So, I've heard, well, why isn't the operator catching? Well, they're out there at 5 in the morning, it's pitch black, and they have light kits on those mowers, but there's so much dew and grass clippings, you can't tell what the hydraulic leak is versus the dew. It all glistens and it gets covered up. So we're training, we're educating constant. Keep in mind, we are, keep in mind the labor pool, right, in these positions too. We want them to take pride, we want them to operate at a high level, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of things working against us. But as this equipment rolls in, things will get progressively better and we can retire these assets and build a nice fishing reef a couple miles off the coast. I'll gladly rent the barge to take it there. Maintenance facility improvements, we've had a meeting, we're trying to strategically plan out maintenance improvements, right? We have $1.9 million in equipment coming. We've signed a forward thinking equipment package, knowing the lead time is significant of $2.9 million. So we're gonna start cycling some of this old equipment out, which will dramatically help the cuts and the disease pressure, and there's just so much that we're working against, but we're getting there. And hopefully everybody's seeing improvements on the golf course, right? It's not perfect, but it's much improved, we're drying out. And kudos to Gabe and his team for taking us in a better path and direction. Anything else?
I'll just discuss the main facility itself with holding all the equipment there. We are working on some safety issues in the shop lift for the time being, but ultimately we have to store that equipment. There's a lot of stuff hanging outside. It's a rust farm out there. So.
Right, and I know there's been some questions and concerns maybe from some members about donations to maintenance. For a long time, we've collected donations for team members, and we have a dumpster at the club or at the maintenance facility that residents like to use, right? Just know there's a cost to that. We're trying not to send our team members out to residences to gather up furniture to donate, right? There's a lot of things not right about that, workers' comp. We're deploying resources we need to work on the golf course to pick up individual residents' furniture. Yes, our team members would like to have it, but we can't pick everything up all the time, so please be understanding of that. We're trying to clean up the yard, and we found, as we're cleaning up, we have couches and chairs and you can't believe some of the things, so we're really trying to do better and make that work environment as good as we can be for our team and professional. I mean, when you go into the office and there's boxes of clothes and pots and pans and are stacked up, we want our team to be proud when they go in, and maybe there's a better way that we can look at for donations to the team and others, but for now, we're gonna try and get out of that business. Anything else?
Sir?
Alright. Perfect, thank you. Food and beverage. Irina Wigley. Come on up.
Good morning, everybody. First, I would like to thank, I see all the faces in here and I recognize you from dining with us, so thank you very much, all of you, for your support. I'm sure there's a lot of you on the Zoom call, but it's very nice to be able to know everybody's name in here, so thank you very much for your constant support of FME. Going by the agenda, so service and culinary teams. Like Bob mentioned labor pool. Without our H2B workers, we would never be able to run the F&B department here at Twin Eagles. With so many outlets, any club, any restaurants, now this is essential. And I do have to say that the staff that we have, the all year round staff is fabulous. Daniela, Eva, Jose, Sylvia's in the kitchen, but who have we received this year, who have been picked out of 250 applicants. You see on the front line, a lot of you have commented how great the servers are, how warm they are, but you should see what we have at the back of the house. These are people that you will rarely ever have a chance to see unless it's in banquets, but the caliber that we have received this year that is in the kitchen, it's just wow. So please, if you do see them on the banquets, take the time and introduce yourself, and I know that they work really hard, they do very, very hard, especially the banquets and the a la carte stuff. So that's as far as the team, and obviously led by our new executive chef Eric Baker, who, trust me, whenever he was applying for the job, I was trying to tell him not to take it, because I said, are you sure? And I called him about 3-4 times, I was like, are you sure? He's like, no, I'm ready. So now he's got a smile all throughout the day, but I don't know what he thinks when he tries me. Grill room, dining, banquet room, Midway Cafe, and a tiki. Speaking about emotional subjects,
Come over.
yeah, so I'll start with the easy one. Did you see the new furniture in front of the tiki, in front of the Midway Cafe? So we're trying to make the cafe a little bit more social. We added some bar stools on the insides, which have been utilized, and we put some furniture outside. Should be receiving umbrella here within a few more days, so it'll be nice. You can get a coffee, you can sit down there in the shade and chat with your friends. We're also, chef is working with some of our seasonal staff on creating better menus that would be a little bit more just not tired, or we have had that for a long time. And I do have to admit, it has been not the majority of our focus, but we are committed to making it better within the next 30 days or so. Grill room, we have introduced about 2-3 weeks ago, early dining room. I would like to, there's going to be a press release that's coming out, Kayla, soon. Kayla?
Yes.
Yes. That, please take a moment and read through the F&B updates. Our early dining menu is a 3-course meal, it's served from 4:30 till 5:15. And it is designed to remove that big push that we receive at 7 o'clock and sometimes 6:30, 7 o'clock. And sometimes gets us in trouble with the volume of the members, right? This is the highest peak. So the menu is very attractive. It is a steak and lobster header. It's a 3-course meal for $38. And we would really like for you to come and experience this. I know a lot of you have, and it's an incredible deal. We used to do it downtown Naples and we had the biggest draw, and it is exactly the same product that we have served down at the previous employment that I've had over luxury dining. So it is not just afterthought. And then we are introducing a couple more specials that we're thinking that will run on Thursday, similar to what we had done for the summer members, so all year round members. Again, during the wine and dine, actually increase the traffic in the grill room. And then we're adding a section of lighter fare. So the menu will not be just, I have heard feedback that the menu is a little bit too formal. So we will add, in addition to the pizzas, some cool sandwiches and just when we don't wanna go to full dinner, but we just wanna go. And also if you go with the friends and one wants to have this and this, so there's gonna be more variety. So we're really excited about that. Please, we're thinking next week, within next definitely 7 to 10 days. And then my favorite one, tiki. So I do have to say, we have opened up the tiki. We have worked tremendously hard this past summer to get it up to par. Yes, it hasn't been, is it a long time, was it built a long time ago? But the way we've cleaned it, the way we surfaced the furniture, we got the new dishes, we really put a lot of thought into making it the best we can on the penny budget that we have. And so the hours of operation at the Tiki, I know are right now limited. And we are open on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. And I know some membership would like to have it open more, but just at this moment, it is what it is. However, next week, it's a Thanksgiving week and we have committed prior to whenever we send out the hours of operation of all the outlets, we are going to be open 7 days a week from 11 till 8, the whole next week. So we start Sunday till Saturday, to make sure that if you have a family in town, that everybody can come out for lunch, dinner, kids swimming at the pool. So we will be open there for food service and beverage service 7 days a week next week. And that's going to be also a good gauge for us what to do with the Tiki hours of operation in the future. Did you want to say something?
So just wanna clarify, for the hours of operation, it's one of the biggest pieces that we look at for the finance committee and then ultimately the board. And just know that what Irina and her team presented to us was, they wanna be, their hospitality, as Bob would say, they have hospitality hearts, they wanna be open all the time for everything, every venue. But we just couldn't afford to do it this year, as you know, so what we did is we looked at what days made the most sense, had the most traffic. And we are committed as a board, I speak on behalf of the 9 of us on the board, is we are gonna take a look at it, and Irina's gonna come back to us with a couple ideas on it. But please, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit later, it is not Irina or any of her team's decision. If you wanna be upset with someone that the Tiki isn't open as many hours as you'd like it to be, talk to us at the board. We made the decision. We made the decision on behalf of the members. Cause we just can't afford it to be open 7 days a week. We are, and she'll go through it in a minute, we're open 7 days for lunch, anywhere on campus. We're open 7 days for dinner, anywhere on campus. We're open for bar service, either here at the grill room or at the Tiki, 7 days a week. And we have tip out, And so we're doing the best we can to make sure, again, we're all members too, is we're saying, hey, let's make it available, let's have the hospitality that we wanna have, let's get together and be able to do things together. Breaking bread, having nice drinks and stuff. But please, I'm just asking you because we continue to get feedback that members are coming after the staff about decisions that we made about the hours of operation at the tiki. So I just ask you on behalf of all of us, if you wanna blame somebody, happy to have you blame me, blame the board, but that's the decision we made, given the budget that we had. But please don't take it out on them, they are working so hard on our behalf, I think you would agree, I've been here since 2016, I know a lot of you have been here even longer. This is by far the best food and beverage staff we've ever had, would you agree? So thank you, Erin, you and your team and all you do, you know we love you, and you guys are working so hard, Chef and the whole team, but please, just asking you this one little thing, please don't take it out on the staff, because they didn't decide, we did. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Donovan. Moving down the line, menus are evolving, so we've talked about a little bit, bring up the new specialists. Also, we are committed to have the menu up here at the grill as well as the tiki changed every 4 weeks. That doesn't mean complete 100% rehaul, but we do run through our product mixes and see what sells, what doesn't sell. You know, I think we ran a mix and for the whole month of November, we sold one item. So that's obviously going no, and then the next day we took it out, the person's like, what happened? Right? So this is the reasoning why we take these items home. We try to add a variety. We've heard you that it was very seafood heavy, so we're putting some different protein on it. So we hear you, we're working with it. Again, there's so many moving parts to these menus, and we're trying to be as reactive to your feedback as possible, as it makes sense. Events and activities. I would like to say a lot of people comes up to me and says, I mean, I did a great job at the events. No. Like, I don't do the events, right? We just make sure that the staff is well trained. All of the decor, all of the designs, all of that is Morgan, right? And I do wanna just say special thank you because whenever I saw the opening party here, it didn't feel like Twin Eagles. It felt like we were transformed to somewhere else. And so for those of you who attended, I hope you agree. And with all the events, I just always look at the rooms, I was like, I say to myself, wow, could we be better? Absolutely, if she would have unlimited budget, then she can do a lot better than what we do. But same with the food. Chef, and right now we have Chef Robert, he's our sous chef who has been here, I think through 4 chefs, is that right? I think Billy, Chaz, and James and Jack, and so now he's on his 5th executive chef. And every time the chef leaves, he carries out the kitchen. So although he's not here in the room, I would like to just, if we can go ahead and give rounds of applause to him. All the golf events, I hope, we've heard only positive feedback. I even have to say my inbox has been pretty empty. So we must be doing something right on the banquet menus. They are different, a lot of Chef Eric's influence on the menus, so hopefully you feel it. And Thanksgiving Day dinner. So Thanksgiving, we will be open up here at the grill for 3 seatings. Right now, our 11 seating is very light. Our 2 p.m. seating is booked out, and our dinner seating still has, our 5 p.m. seating still has a few spots available. It's, I think, about 60 slots. So if you are not Thanksgiving feaster, the tiki will be open the whole day from 11 to 8 p.m. and you can go ahead and enjoy a sandwich there or just light a fare after the rounds of golf. Holiday events, there's so many events coming up that we have a tree lighting, carolers, breakfast with Santa, or so many things.
Comedy night Saturday.
And yes, we have a comedy night this Saturday. Somebody asked me, is there going to be dinner served? Absolutely. So please sign up. It's supposed to be super funny. Make your reservation. If you do come here for dinner, it's not like we say you must make a reservation, we're not going to serve you. However, it helps us so much to gauge, to be prepared. I think some of us still have PTSD from private Friday night about a month ago. So that was good. We had about 80 walk-ins, right? And we wanna take it, we wanna take it, we wanna take it. But if we're not prepared for 80 walk-ins, we will run out of private. So it just helps us gauge, please, so that's one thing. And then we talked about the cancellation policy, switching to 48 hours, which I think is a great move. It's a lot more member friendly. I always feel very bad to charge people for not coming in, and sometimes you forget, sometimes you fall ill, whatever it is, so I'm very happy that that's happened. That's all I have to say today, thank you.
Sports and wellness, Tony Philangus. Come on up. And going back to Irina, we'll talk a little bit more about the tiki. Just generally speaking, we would all appreciate it if we didn't personalize these decisions that are made. And Beth said that, the board accepts responsibility for the hours of operation, but keep in mind, this budget started in May, June, and the amount of hours that was put into the process from the team perspective, the finance committee, the board, the joint meetings between the finance committee and the board, and the strategic planning joint meetings, and it all rolled up into a plan. And maybe it was right, maybe it was wrong. But it wasn't Irina's decision, right? It wasn't, you come from luxury dining, you just don't like the tiki, right? You come from sales, you don't understand casual, you don't like the tiki, and therefore that's why hours of operation was reduced. Could be more unfact based, is that a word? She did not. Our mission was, and the assumptions, the direction from club management leadership was figure out a way to be open at the tiki, full service, 7 days a week. That was the starting point. That was where Irina, Morgan, Brian, and Olivia, when they developed the budget. That was the mission. And it didn't happen, it wasn't in the cards. And the good news is we're gonna constantly evaluate, we're gonna let the data make the decisions, not emotions. We're gonna watch the utilization and we're gonna listen. And nobody on the board or on our committees or on our team is so arrogant not to listen. We are listening. That's why we're all here today, right? The board, club management, leadership said, hey, let's do a town hall meeting. Let's talk about the issues. Let's have an open Q&A, right? So that's why we're here today, and we're just trying to improve the club. Tony?
Thanks, Bob. That's a hard act to follow. There's, before I highlight some of the areas of the sports, I've had the opportunity, I spent a lot of my time here at the clubhouse throughout the operations, not only in all the non-golf amenities, but also with the team. It's an incredible task what they do. There's so much passion. A lot of times you see me with my cell phone, I'm taking photos of the food, the setup, the back of the house staff. If you see them in the prep work and the tables, they're cutting vegetables, they're preparing food. It's incredible the passion they have. So thanks Irina, thanks team. And then on to my wellness, rackets and bocce update. These are the non-golf activities. Who here has driven into the club and noticed a rise in the activities on the rackets courts? I'm hoping everybody holds their hand up. All right. If you have not participated in any of those, areas, please come see me, come see Heidi, Preston, Caitlin, Donna Lee, the rest of the team. We're incredibly passionate about meeting your expectations, trying to find solutions to make your lifestyle more active and healthy and live longer and play more golf rounds. So regarding wellness, it's been about a year and 2 months since I started, and there was a lot of work done on the equipment. And where do we go? What direction do we do? This was a lease that we had acquired. It had expired and we decided to keep the equipment. The club made the decision, and you all, that we wanted to enhance the experience. So we've acquired and signed a new lease, which is coming in December. So that new lease is starting, so we probably anticipate about a day of moving in and out of equipment. We're also gonna clean the facility too as well. This is a really big enhancement to what we're doing. So we're taking all of the existing cardiovascular equipment out and we're gonna replace that. The reason we're doing that, one is the lease has expired. Number two, there's a lot of safety and routine maintenance that's required with this equipment, and it's costly to replace it. But in addition to that, a lot of the pieces or the parts aren't available anymore. So in a short few weeks, you'll see all new equipment. And with that equipment, you'll see up here Comcast conversion. I don't wanna get everyone too excited that it's gonna be a major Comcast conversion in this community, but there's something called the Q2Q system. What this does is this basically enhances the reliability and the security of the signal coming in. So a lot of times you hear analog to digital, digital to analog. This is gonna provide a more consistent service to the cardiovascular equipment along with the TVs on the wall. So I think you'll see a big enhancement in that area. And then you'll also see a few new pieces of equipment. We got the Roman chair, that's the traditional one where you hang with your forearms and lift your legs. So leg raise, great for abdominal, great for the golf swing. You're gonna see a better bicep curl. We've heard a lot of feedback from the equipment saying, you know, this isn't like the gym I have at home. So one of our goals is to acquire some of those pieces of equipment that you all like and that you use and that benefits you. And then we'll have a stair climber. And then the next question I'm gonna get, and please feel free to email, who's gonna use the stair climber? It's a very popular piece of equipment, so I won't spend any more time on that, but I'm really excited. I know it's gonna be, we'll probably have to have a time limit, so if any of you are on more than 15-20 minutes, you'll probably get an email or a call from me. And that's the fitness. Rackets, we have a new ball machine. We've prepared a video on a how-to use this ball machine. There's also a QR code. This is a tennis ball machine. It'll enhance the playability of the courts. Hopefully, some of you who have played tennis before may come out and try it again. It's a great tool to use since we only have 2 courts and doesn't allow us to have any true team tennis experience. So the ball machine will be put into play this week. We got a tool that's gonna be installed on the side of it, so it's very easy. You pull the extension cord out, plug it in, and then it wheels up, so you don't have to carry it, get your clothes dirty or anything. We're trying to make this all easy for you to do, so. Tennis lights, if you're driven here in the morning, for some odd reason, the middle ones were converted to LED, but the exterior outside lights were not. So if you're playing, they shut off, but only the outside shut off and not the inside. So in a few weeks, we'll be converting the exterior, the outside lights, parking lot and wellness side lights to LED. And the ice and water machine, who here has played pickleball on our brand new courts? Who wants to play pickleball on our brand new courts? We know that. Does anyone not wanna play? I'll convert you. I will. We're gonna have a new water and ice machine, so if you're walking into the community, you need a refreshment or hydration, or if you're playing, please stop by. That should be installed this week. We had some work to do under the road and to bring the water source to the courts, but that's near complete. The water machine will be installed by our vendor and it should be good to go. And then lastly, bocce. Bocce, we heard some feedback. We had a great record-setting inaugural season. We had about 1,200 players. And we had 6 matches per team, and we held it 4 days a week, sometimes 5. This season, we're gonna have this similar format, we're gonna have enhanced rules, and I'm proud to say that our reservations are essentially in line with last year's. So we have 27 ladies teams, we have 25 men's teams, and we're nearing 72 mixed teams, so we're very close to last year's performance. I anticipated that, there's been some drop off, but it's been incredible hearing from members who had not played and new members coming into the community. It's the first thing they wanna do. So it's an exciting way. If the weather holds off tomorrow, we will be outside doing an introductory session. So please stop by and meet your existing and new members. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Tony. All right, financial update of 2024 forecast. So I think we've been messaging since the spring, early spring, that we made some intentional decisions, i.e. The membership, summer membership program, the members were pretty loud and clear in the January town hall meetings, focus group meetings, that's not commensurate with the wishes of the majority of the membership. That was pulled. The South Florida PGA Golf Pass, that was pulled from the budget as well. That was about a $200,000 created a $200,000 gap. We had 77 inches of rain during rainy season, which is defined here in Southwest Florida as May 15 to October 15th. Average is 40. So big impact on weather. Golf course tree trimming. We had been for several years doing the work in the summer and then expensing it in the fall. Probably not a good best practice. Let's pay for contracted work when we do the contracted work. That was another 135, and that's been going on for years. So we're trying to fix a lot of this. Incremental golf leadership, right? We brought on a director of player development, Tom Patry. Holly came on board as the LPGA professional. That had an impact. Food and beverage operations startup. Clearly, we didn't know what to expect in the fall when this club opened. There was a lot of inefficiencies. I think the members recognize that. Certainly Irene and team recognize that. So now we have almost a full year. Well, now we have a full year. We almost had a full year when we were going through the budget process to really plan forward more efficiently and effectively, but certainly it had an impact on the overage to budget. So what now what? Managing the deficit. The board's been talking about, what we want to do. We had a finance committee meeting yesterday. So we talked specifically about the deficit, how we want to manage it. Estimated range if we were gonna go and do an operating assessment, right? That bad word, assessment. If it was 600,000, it'd be $837 a door. At 650, 907 a door. We're working on finalizing the 1031 financial package. We'll have that closed out here shortly, and we'll be able to do a full comprehensive update for the members for fiscal year 24. But the good news is, well, and just so you know, the finance committee put forth a unanimous recommendation that we don't burden the membership with that assessment, that we utilize the operating reserves. We have about $1.2 million in reserves today, and to utilize that reserve fund, and then we'll look at a strategy forward. We're in the process of revising and finalizing a draft policy that's been kicked around for several years, and we're also going to look at some reserve policies from other high performing clubs and come up with a strategy going forward. The good news is fiscal year 25 budget was developed with so much more information, right? We had 8-9 months of good data, run rates, where we could really extrapolate good information and forecast it out for 25. We have a full year of operations. We brought on team members, you know, at different months of the year, so now all those positions are fully loaded in the 25 budget. We're expecting a normalized weather pattern. We had El Nino this summer, 77+ inches of rain, and now they're forecasting one of the driest seasons on record. So you never know, right? Forecasters are 50-50. They bat 500. If we were all playing baseball, we'd be all-stars, but we're expecting better weather, drier weather, which means more rounds of golf, more revenue. All right, addition of non-member events revenue, we tried not to go here, but we were forced to as we were looking for additional revenue. And we'll talk about, well, I guess we can talk about it right now. So the 7% dues revenue increase, nearly 600,000 was deployed to golf course maintenance, right? And you look at the increase in property and casualty insurance, workers' comp, health benefits, the labor load, inflation, etc. It became very challenging, right? With limited resources. So we added $100,000 approximately in golf. We're gonna do some good things in the community. Some members have charitable hearts and they have organizations that they're involved with. We'd rather have a charity golf event come in here than do something that's widely out there, right? So we're gonna be very strategic. We're gonna try not to impact member use of the club enjoyment. $100,000 is roughly five big events, right? So we'll do that during times where we have 2 golf courses open and we can move all the members to one golf course and have an event on the other. $200,000 in food and beverage revenue, which I believe we have 4 weddings booked. And I believe they're member sponsored all. So again, that's a good thing, right? We're not just out on the street trying to bring in non-members, right? There's a tie to the membership, which is ideal. And we also included a $200,000 contingency in the budget, which we didn't have last year, and we think that's plenty sufficient. And if we don't use it, then we roll it over and we could increase replacement of that reserve fund that we tap into. Hot topics. Can we skip this slide? Walking fee. All right, so the club industry financial model, generally speaking, across the country, it doesn't matter if you're in Southwest Florida, you're in Michigan, Northeast, California, Arizona. Members pay dues, and dues allows members access to facilities. So you pay your dues, you can play pickleball, you can play bocce, you can play tennis, you can go to the grill room, you can have dinner in the dining room. You can use all the amenities. You can go to the practice area, you can play golf. Dues allows you access. Dues-driven model is what most mid to high performing clubs strive to be. If you want to rent a pickleball paddle because you don't have one and you're trying it out, which hopefully all of you do that, you pay a rental fee. You need a set of golf clubs because you left yours in Michigan on your trip down to Southwest Florida and you wanna rent golf clubs. You pay a rental fee, you bring a guest, you have dinner, you go to an event, there are ancillary fees that you pay to enjoy the club, right? Additional services. If you rent a cart, you pay a golf cart rental. You rent a push cart, pull cart, you pay an additional fee. And that's the way most clubs do it, right? And I know walking fee has been discussed here for years, right? And I heard both sides in January when I arrived on campus. I heard from those that wanted the walking fee, those that didn't want the walking fee, those that wanted a hybrid of the walking fee. And you can't even imagine how much discussion in committee and focus groups, in private meetings, private phone conversations, the boardroom, finance committee over walking fees. Clearly, it's emotional. Clearly, my background's pretty extensive. In one of the hats I wore when I worked for a large luxury developer here, I managed 5-star resorts. And, you know, we measured revenue in every way you could, and you know, that reference point tells me every spot on the golf course has a revenue implication, right? Every seat on the plane has a revenue implication. And that we should, the way my corporate mind works, we should be getting something for every round that goes out there. But I'm not the norm, right? The norm is that you pay dues and you have access to the golf course and you can walk. And here at Twin Eagles, years ago, the members made an intentional decision that we're gonna have walkers. Because we think that walking is good. We say we're committed to blue zones and healthy lifestyle, and we want people to be able to walk. And it's just whether they pay a fee or not for it. It is a competitive advantage, and there's very few clubs you can go join and walk. I think there's 2 clubs that I'm aware of that charge a walking fee. Most clubs that don't have a walking fee, you take a caddy and you pay for the caddy. But again, that doesn't go to the club, that goes to the caddy. But most clubs, they don't, right? And I've seen everybody's data. We've got a dozen member groups going out and doing their data. And I was in a meeting the other day for 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon with a group, and so I'm sending the GMs and the directors of golf, is this true, right? Do you really have a walking, do you do this, do you do that? And just know not all the data that is being put together is accurate. Right, we have the data, I'd be happy to talk to people about the data. We know what's going on in the market, but at the end of the day, do we wanna charge, do we not wanna charge? It was an intentional decision, it was passionately discussed that we weren't gonna charge a walking fee in fiscal year 25. We're measuring the data right now, very granularly. I've got the report through November 18th. So we know the incremental increase in walkers. We're gonna measure it for 90 days and we're gonna circle back with the members. And if we think it is not in the best interest to continue in this direction, then we can pivot. But we're not gonna make any decisions right now based on emotion. we're gonna measure the data. We're gonna determine what we think the majority of members want, and we'll move forward. Keep in mind, this is a line item in the budget that our forecast for fiscal year 24 was $9,250 and change. So in a $17.5 million budget, we're talking about a $9,200 line item. Now, if you charge, if you charge every walker and you don't have the split, yeah, it would be more. Okay, so it's a $20,000. I'll give you, it's a $30,000. Is it worth all the emotion and the anger and the frustration? I don't know. I'm not a member. I'm just here to make you happy. But just know we're fully aware. We talked about it in the boardroom. It was passionately discussed. I argued for it, right? I didn't get my way. That's okay. There's other things, right? We don't get everything we want all the time, right? There's gonna be things that you give and take, you win some, you lose some in the budget process, and just understand, we get it. We are seriously reviewing it, but we're gonna let the data make the decision, not the emotion. Tiki hours of operation, I think we beat that up pretty good. I'm sure we'll have some questions when we get to Q&A. Labor template, lot of misinformation. I've had a lot of members come, how come you're hiring all these people? And what are you talking about? Well, you hired a marketing person, well, that's a replacement, right? We took her from, 28 hours to 40, but it's a head count, it's a replacement. There's a lot of other positions replaced. Did we hire a rackets professional? Yes, that's an add. We hired a person to manage rackets, help us with bocce, because I need help. Right? I need help. I don't have an assistant GM. Tony came here to Twin Eagles. He wants to be an assistant GM. He's coming out of the sports and wellness side. He wants to learn. I need help. The more support I get him on rackets and bocce, and he's gonna be doing everything. His title is rackets, but he's gonna be a jack of all trades. The more I can spend with Tony, Tony can help me. I can educate, train, develop. We have a succession plan. It's a good thing, right? And oh, by the way, all clubs this size have one, right? We are adding a assistant facility manager and a lead housekeeper. We have 6 housekeepers to manage the facility, maintain the facility, $76 million in assets. You have 5 out parcels. You have a huge clubhouse, wellness center. There's a lot to cover, 7 days a week. Right? A lot to clean, 6 people, we're just not getting it done. And there's areas in the clubhouse, your facility, that needs to be cleaned and maintained better. Some of this is gonna be efficiency, but some of it's just sheer headcount. Facilities, we have 1 facility manager and we have 2 techs to cover all the facilities. It's just simply not enough. We need to get our preventive maintenance programs in place. We need to go through all the assets we purchased. We need a software program to help us manage the electrical work, the plumbing work. We can't just keep flying, right? Doing business the way we're doing, because it doesn't end well, right? We have $76 million of tired and aging. We want this building and facilities to look like it does today in 5 years. You can't do that with 1 manager. So anyway, we can go through, we added 4 FTEs, 4 or 5 FTEs for maintenance. Clearly, that's the biggest area the members want us to improve. So we think we're spending it in the right places. We think it's not excessive. The data and the comps don't support it, that it's excessive, we can show it to you. Some of you reject the data, we don't care what Jim Butler thinks, we don't care what Club Benchmarking thinks, KKW, Global Golf Advisors, Beekman Survey, like I can't help you understand, I mean, the data is the data, if you reject it, you reject it. All I can do is give it to you. And there's nothing we're doing right now that's excessive. Phase one reconciliation, we have a couple members that are very interested in the phase one reconciliation. We're still working on that reconciliation. We're working through the final warranty items and repairs. We're gonna schedule here when we're all done, a meeting with the general contractor, the subcontractors, the architects, the engineers. And we're gonna have a very pointed, candid conversation on who's paying for what. And, you know, if we have to engage in legal activity, we'll make that decision with the board, but there's things that we needed to do, and hopefully you're seeing that stuff's getting done. That since I come on board, I'm committed to getting it done. We fixed drainage, we fixed landscape. We planted a podocarpus hedge along the tennis, so that's not unsightly. We got the contractor for the original landscape work to replace plant material at his cost. So we're working hard to get everything and more that you all paid for on the renovation. And it's a heavy lift, it's incredibly time consuming, but we're doing it. And we'll be able to get that reconciliation done when everything is paid and in, and, you know, we'll have an audit, you can go through it and find detail. All right, capital projection. Lonnie. So as you know, February 1, initiation fee, board approved, recommended and board approved to go up to February or to from 130,000 to 150,000.
Yes.
What did that mean for the membership in terms of debt repayment and capital?
Yep, so this is our first slide for the current 130,000 initiation fee collection. So the blue line represents our the average funding requirement to maintain our existing assets, which the numbers are coming from our preliminary reserve study. And the orange kind of color there is our current initiation fee collection. And then the green represents the 10% of our operating revenue. And we are anticipating a 3% turnover rate year over year, which represents about 19 full golf turns per year. And with this slide, you don't see the gold in the 2025 because we're gonna satisfy our phase one commitment in early 2026. And then the next slide, like Bob mentioned, the initiation fee is gonna increase to 150 effective February 1st of 2025. And the only different in this slide is the funding commitment, which will be in late 2025, and you still have some funding left over at the end of 2025. I think that's it.
So it's a good story, right? And I would argue that 3% turnover rate is low, right? Very conservative. So I think it's very likely that by the fall, the end of fiscal year 2025, that 10.75 million, which is the membership initiation fee component of the debt service, will be paid and retired. And that's a good news, right? Cause then we'll start accumulating that capital for things you want, aspirational items, things we need, right? We can do some more at maintenance with the facility, which we know we need to fund. We're gonna need to fund the equipment, incremental equipment. There's things that we wanna do on campus to improve the lifestyle of all our residents. Or not, right? But that's up to the members to decide. Thank you, Mon. All right, community outreach and charitable giving. One of the great things about this community is all the good works that are being done here by our members. I understand there's 300 members now participating in charitable causes, events, activities. And, you know, this is part of our strategic plan and DNA of the community. It's a great way to meet other members, to get involved and do some good things. It's fully funded by the events activities, not funded by the club. But Dink for Pink, anybody participate in the Dink for Pink event, right? We raised $25,000 for Partners for Breast Cancer Care, serving Southwest Florida. We have blood drives every quarter or so. Monthly awareness presentation was in this room. It was incredible. We had 4 speakers come and talk about all the good things going on in Immokalee to better serve the underprivileged. Habitat for Humanity build. We have several builds coming up. We're very, very hopeful that the service hours from our team who participate and our members will help one of our team members get a Habitat home. So very excited about that. Feed Thy Neighbor. Is there any more worthy charity than feeding our fellow neighbors? I mean, incredible that our residents participate and give to that. Laces of Love. We've kicked off Project Christmas. We've got Christmas gifts for our team member children. Meals of Hope, the turkey trot that Tony and his team are coordinating. Efforts there will benefit Meals of Hope. We've got another Habitat build in December, another food drive, Guadalupe Center events where our members go out to the Guadalupe Center and help assist underprivileged folks. Pathways Giving Tree in memory of Iris Detter, our member who passed. That tree's up in the lobby, went up, I think, late last week. And hopefully you'll consider taking one of the $250 plugs on that tree. Twin Eagle Scholarship event, which assists folks here, team members here, children. Just an incredible event that occurs here. What was the raise? Over $100,000? 160 last year. That's just incredible. 7 scholarship recipients from Twin Eagle. 9. I gotta brush up on my facts. But this is great. You know, not all clubs, not all communities get actively involved in the community, internally or externally, and this one does. And to me, it's a really unique benefit of living here. And if you don't want to give, don't participate, right? It's clearly your choice. Just know we're not using resources to fund anything. All right, Board of Directors, Vince Alberico, Nancy Brown, Beth Donovan, John Iannuzzi, Richard McCusker, Jim Bauer, Barry Mullen, JJ Serene, and Janet Barton. And I'll tell you, I've been in club space 38 years now. I've worked with a lot of boards, a lot of committees. I can't say enough about the level of commitment and just care for taking the club forward. Clearly, you know, leadership's not a popularity contest, we all take hits. You all serving companies and private businesses, making decisions and standing in front of large groups of people, it's not for everybody. But I can tell you the amount of time and effort and energy invested by our board, our committees. We had 8 committee meetings in the last 3 or 4 days. We had a 2-hour board meeting on Sunday. Over the weekend, we had a 2-hour board meeting a week ago, Saturday. Like, it's a lot, but the conversation is strategic. It's where are we going? What are we doing? How are we gonna get there? And it's really, really good. It's important. And it's transformational for the club. So kudos to our board and to all those that volunteered for the upcoming season's committees. All right, cellular tower update. Come on up.
Thanks, Bob. Thank you for your kind words, but again, it's a team effort for all of us that give their time. So this is something, as you know, I know is near and dear to our hearts and something we've been working on for quite some time. So I just want to give a quick update, and again, I also have photos and stuff, which is good, but I think you're gonna find this is really good news, and again, hopefully something in the very near future we can check off the list. So as you know, we've had poor cell service here. I mean, everybody knows that for a long time. Part of it is because we're surrounded by a sanctuary, but that's also part of the reason why we live here. It's because we live in a beautiful natural community. So no one up until this point has put a cell tower up, and we have some good news around that. We've been looking as the club at opportunities over the last couple of years, including, as you know, looking at putting one inside of the community. But we really wanted to make sure that it wasn't something that we had to shepherd, meaning the club, because we're not in that business, right? The technology needs to belong to the people that do the technology, right? And that's not what a club does. So I'll give you some updates, but the good news is, and again, I have photos, but as you're well aware of, and again, for the people online, I'm gonna have pictures, but so immediately to our west, Heritage Bay is going to be installing a tower. And I'll show you some slides on that in just a minute here. And again, that's supposed to be operational by the beginning of the second quarter calendar year next year, so by April of 25. And then also, as you know, and you've seen it, Bob and I ended up even being on TV, but we've been going to several meetings with the county over, and we went to see the fire chief and all that stuff. We did that all in the course of this year and said, we desperately need this. And I'm gonna just say it, it's not on the slides, but we know that safety and security is really important to us, right? A lot of people here walk, ride bikes around the community. Gosh, if you fell or something, you wanna be able to get on your phone and have someone come help you. And so, again, we take that seriously. It's obviously really important. We wanna have high-speed communications throughout the community, but most importantly, that you can call 911, get a hold of someone that can help you. And so, that was really what we've been reinforcing for the last several months with them, and I think they really got it. So the great news is, all carriers are planned now. I can't speak to like Cricket and some of the smaller ones and stuff like that, but the major carriers, they're planned to be on both of these towers. So let me just show you some pictures really quick, because I know we're a little bit run behind. So thanks, Bob. So here is, again, I feel like I'm doing the work, but I'm done. So this is, the gold is us, right? It's Twin Eagles. So that's the entire community, okay? And if you look here, this is Immokalee Road on the bottom. And then, again, I apologize for the people on the camera, but you'll get the pictures. This is where the school cell tower is gonna go. So as you guys know, you go out of the gates of our fabulous island and you go right. And when you look to the left, there's a big elementary school that's gonna be called Bear Creek. You probably read that in the news. Immediately to the east of that, on that side of the road, is where the cell tower is going. Okay, so it's really as close as it possibly could be to us while still being there. And the great news is that the county
is gonna be responsible for that. So from a technology perspective and all the things, as things get updated, because we all know how many of us had 3G, and then we had 4G, and then we had 5G, and as you know, 10G is coming. Those kind of things they're responsible for and working with the carriers. That's not something that we have to worry about as our own little community. So that's gonna go here, and again, that tower's gonna be 180 feet tall, which is significant because the taller the tower is, I know it's not a surprise, and again, I can do the Big Ten math on it. It actually goes further, right? So it's gonna stretch easily all the way to the back, and as you can see, that square that's all the way back there. And by the way, I wanna thank Janet Barton, because she put these slides together, so thank you, Janet, for doing this. Is all the way back, that's the furthest house back, all the way almost at Corkscrew, right? All the way back on Kinross, it's gonna stretch to that, okay? Then the other one that's up here would be on your left, is the Heritage Bay cell tower, and that's gonna be at their maintenance area. So for those of you that have been to Heritage Bay, it's in that part of their place. And so that tower is 150 feet tall, but it spreads all the way back again to that same area, right? But it's basically 3 miles going one direction, and we're gonna send these slides out, obviously, like we've been doing after all the meetings, but wanna go to the next slide, Bob? So just giving you a different perspective, because it's the exact same map, but just inverted, is the top is Immokalee Road, right? And then all of this is Twin Eagles, right? So just gives you an idea, like if you wanted to look at it for where's my house looking forward to the road, but essentially the towers are in the same spot. So what we wanna show you is, which we think is good news, and again, we haven't gotten confirmation yet, because the way that we've learned this business works is that the carriers don't wanna commit until the tower is actually up. But I think we know they're just doing that because they don't wanna, well, I'm AT&T and I don't want Verizon and I'm on the tower, but they all end up being on the tower, that's what happens. So let's go to the next slide, please, Bob. And so this is, if you did a radius of what the coverage can be, okay, and again, we're the gold here. This is just for the Heritage Bay Tower. So we were pretty much gonna be covered anyway, if they even only did that one. But what's really great, go to the next one. This is, I couldn't not have pink, I just had to, thank you for doing this, Jen. This is the one from the school. And then if you do it as a combined Venn diagram thingy, we're just gonna have great, I mean, the coverage is gonna be, we're gonna be more than covered, it's gonna be a dramatic change. And again, that's basically what we wanted to share. So next steps is, these are just things that carriers remind us of, but when you go on your phone, you wanna enable Wi-Fi calling. Your phone will work a lot better just in the existing conditions if you enable Wi-Fi calling on your phone. And then also, a lot of you have already gotten Wi-Fi extenders in your home because everybody has Wi-Fi service. This is obviously to make sure you get cellular, but just wanted to share that. And then we will provide additional updates as we get them. But hopefully everybody feels like this is great news for our community, and I want to thank Bob. And again, we've been working hard on it, but this is something I hope in the very near future you can check off your list. And thanks again for your patience with this. I know it's been a long time, but we feel really good about, we're just almost there, that we're just gonna have great service. So thank you, everybody. I'm gonna now hand over to one of my fellow board members, Jay Sorrenti's gonna cover a couple of things.
Man, I'm so happy about cell tower. When you accept at the end of an agenda that comes with, you usually don't have as much time as you're allowed, and people have already said some of the things that you were expected to say. So those two things go together here. I'm here to speak to the core values in the club culture. If you think back to when I was a lowly board candidate 9 months ago, and I shot that video that some of you watched, or you came to meet the candidate day, the two things I talked about were communications. I felt like the board could be a much better communicator to the club. That was very important to me as a member, and now it's important to me as a board member. And also to be an employer of choice at this club, because I figured if we could hire the best people and retain them, that was kind of the best serving the best. And I thought that would create a better culture for all of us. From the communication side, I think we've done a better job. I think communications can always be great. I think we're doing a better job of communicating from the board. If you can keep up with all of it, it's not easy to do, but you're staying very informed. What makes me wonder about that from a perspective of if we're communicating really well is how vicious the rumor mill gets at this club. So you're super informed, you're informed as best that you can ever be, but yet that rumor mill continues to be generated, and that creates a tough culture. if you hear a rumor, you might wonder what's going on. Bob mentioned a Sunday board meeting. What the heck's going on a Sunday? What are they talking about in there? I can tell you that if you're wondering that if you're talking about maybe what you suspect was going on at a Sunday board meeting, that probably either the person that you were sitting with may repeat that, or even the server or the manager that walks by your table that hears you talking about that, or somebody at the bag drop area hears you talking about it in a cart. And then that's how the rumor mill starts, and it just gets to be really, really vicious. So I'm not saying that anybody in this room is responsible for it, but sometimes when we get into conversations, you wonder, what's going on there? I'm here to ask you, please, and my wife and I joke about this all the time, society has changed us, we don't need to wonder anymore. We sat at dinner last Sunday trying to remember how old Michael Jackson was when he died. And back 20 years ago, we would have argued about that for an hour. But today Google answers that question in 10 seconds, right? So you don't have to wonder anymore. You don't have to wonder here either. You can, it's been very rare that I've been to this club when any one of the 9 board members or Bob is visible somewhere in the room, somewhere around. Ask a board member, what's going on Sunday? What happened in the Sunday board meeting? Well, a lot of what was talked about in that Sunday board meetings in this deck, some of the things that you saw today. And so I urge all of you to please think about that as you're working through conversations and thinking about, don't wonder, just ask, because the information is available to you. And please also, if you haven't met one of us, I don't know everybody in this room personally yet, we accepted this responsibility figuring someday when we were having dinner, someone would walk up to us and say, hey, I'm Bill and I have a question for you. That's okay. That's okay with me. Please don't be afraid to approach us. We took this responsibility to be your board members to answer questions like that and have conversations like that. So that goes to integrity and mutual respect. That's something that I think all of us can work better at. The other thing is, why do we keep putting this up? Like, if I were also a board member or just a member, and like, I'm tired of listening to this stuff. It's because we're not just quite there yet. We still have these vicious rumors that kind of fly around. So that's the communication side of things. So let's switch over, and I appreciate you all being stewards of that, because if we're stewards of that on our own, then that will be helpful to us. So now let me quickly move over to employer choice, and then I'll get out of the way. Here's a secret. There's not many secrets at this club, but here's a very well kept secret that's a terrible fact. We do exit interviews for the employees when they leave. And one of the top reasons that employees leave this club is not to go make more money. It's not to get promoted into a better job. It's not everybody quits the manager, they don't quit the job. One of the top reasons people leave this club are the members. That's sad. You guys, that's sad. So just knowing that, and it's a terrible secret, but now it's out. So now you want to spread a rumor? You can spread that one. That's not a rumor, that's fact. And it's sad. So I'll just ask you to think about that when you're having interaction. We've been pushing harder and harder, and if you can go ahead 3 slides. We've been pushing, you can go to the next one. We've been pushing all of you harder and harder to say, listen, if you have a complaint, send it to this email address or talk to Bob. And look, it's not about if your meal is not prepared properly, you're not supposed to send an email to Bob, you're supposed to report that and get that meal fixed. But if you're wondering, why has my meal not been prepared properly 6 times in a row, that's an email to Bob, that's an email to communications at Twin Eagles. That's the distinct difference. It's a small difference, but it's an important one. Direct feedback to the staff is, we want the input, get it there. That's the best place for it. That allows the staff to focus on you right now, right here. So that they're not thinking about the future. Irina talked about the tiki and how many times she's had to talk about the tiki. And now you've heard from Beth that that wasn't Irina's decision, that was ours. So let us hear your feedback, give it to us. So that give it to us through that email address, give it to us directly, give it to us through Bob. Super important, so that we can be an employer of choice. So that these guys that are working here can be the best, serve the best. We want to keep recruiting those people, we want to retain the ones that we have. And so that's why you keep hearing about club culture and keep hearing about core values, because we're getting there, but we're just not quite there. And I have the fun responsibility to talk about that today. So hopefully that message is okay. Appreciate your time, appreciate all of your support in these 2 areas. And before I sit down, I do want to say, we talked about how great the board's doing. I've been on this journey as a board member for 9 months. I think Bob walked into my first board meeting, it was day 42, I think he said. So I wanna thank you for all the hard work that you put in. No one's gonna out effort you, I can tell you that, I can see that myself, so I wanted to say thank you on behalf of myself, just as a member and as a board member, for all the hard work you've been putting in with the club as well, so thank you for that.
All right, lot of upcoming events and activities. Bocce is open, comedy nights on the 23rd coming up. There's some golf events, but like the pros. Titleist Club Fitting Day, couples member golf and dinner. There's a lot of holiday youth sports camps coming up, November and December for grandchildren, children, and others. Visit the website for all the calendar information, all the events, activities. Lots of emails go out. If you have any questions, obviously the ladies at the concierge desk be happy to answer. The team will be happy to answer. Twin Eagles leadership team, kudos to the team. It's been a busy summer. We're into the meat of the schedule. Fall calendar of events is in full swing, and couldn't be more proud of the team's effort. So how about a round of applause for the team? Couple final thoughts. Please use the website. We try and communicate in a variety of forums. We have the website, which houses all the information, all the calendars, all the updates, the club documents. We send out club operations updates based on things important, topics important to the membership periodically. So we'll grab 4, 5, 6 of those and send out an email. It'll be text, sometimes it's documents, sometimes it's video, but we're trying to communicate. We're using Instagram now, so if you use Instagram, it's an additional social media forum in addition to Facebook. We have the residents Facebook page, club Facebook page. So we're trying to get the information out in a variety of forums. I can't help you if you didn't know about something and you say, I don't know how to go into the website, I don't read the emails, and I don't do social media. We don't publish a hard printed calendar, and we don't have flyers up all over your brand new, beautiful $22.5 million clubhouse. There's a better way, right? So we're really trying to get everybody up to speed. I know there's been discussion about doing some computer classes, teach members and residents who might not be technologically savvy, how to get into the system, how to go onto the Facebook site. If you have those questions, don't be bashful. We're happy to sit with you. We're happy to sit with you with your iPad, your phone. Anyway, please be informed. It's a responsibility of all of the members to be informed. I can't help you with that, but we can teach you new ways in technology. Please report policy violations to the team, to me, to Irina, to Rich, to the staff. Do not go member to member, nose to nose, and scream and yell in the dining room, in the hallway, about dress code, about any other issue at the club policy related. Just politely let us know. We'll circle back with those members and we'll address it. We really don't want member confrontations. That's our responsibility. And Jay touched on the rumor mill. Interesting, I heard from 2 senior leaders yesterday and some golf staff members this morning that apparently the board has been meeting to talk about my exit from the club, whether it was my choice or the board's choice. Clearly, the team doesn't wanna hear it, need to hear, well, maybe they want to hear it. I don't know. But, I don't speak for them, but it's just not appropriate. If you have any questions, concerns about my tenure, my performance, please go to Beth, please go to the board. Our team doesn't need to hear it, it's just not productive. And again, there's other rumors out there, we're just trying to get out as much good information as we can. For those that want, I made a commitment, I came to Twin Eagles, I said, I'm gonna be here for 8 to 10 years, I'm gonna be here for 8 to 10 years, and I'm gonna work my tail off in the best interest of the membership and our team. And we're not gonna always make the best decisions, I mean, it's just life. But we're gonna make the best decisions we think at the time we make them. There's no agendas, we're just trying to serve the membership. All right, questions and answers. Where's that other microphone here? Maybe ever can run the microphone. I have a couple I got in advance, so I'm gonna read those first. Let's see here. So here's a text, have reached out via email on the status of the steam room opening. Have heard nothing, when is it going to be functioning? George, are you in the room? George, come on up. Give us a quick update. Because I think the last town hall meeting, I said those saunas were gonna be functioning within 2 weeks. So I understand there's some electrical issues. The new sauna equipment runs on higher amperage. And so we needed to do some electrical work, trying to get electricians out on small projects is challenging at best, but there is good news on the horizon.
Yes, there is. We're gonna use them as closets. No, quick update, the plumber, waiting on plumbers, tile guys, electricians, distributors, plumbers will be here tomorrow. The men's side, the equipment is in, the electric is in, plumbing is done, just waiting on a little bit of tile, a couple pieces of tile. And then just trim it out, but the plumbers are gonna be here tomorrow just to trim it. We're gonna put something in there, it's not gonna be exact color for the tile. But we're gonna get that up and running, hopefully.
2 weeks.
When everybody, for Thanksgiving, I'm hoping. The women's is where we're having the electrical issues with. Electrician told me he'll be here today. They have to add another sub panel because of the amperage. The panel that they were gonna tie into, they can't find, it's older. And they couldn't find the right breaker. So now they have to add a sub panel, which he told me he'll be here today. And as soon as that's done, it's gonna be the same thing. Plumber will be back, put in the steam heads inside the unit. And hopefully we turn it on and it could be used. But who's really gonna use it? Let's see, 1, 2.
Here we go.
2 hands, 3.
I have a feeling there's quite a few.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's where we're at with those.
Can I put a lock on it myself?
It's gonna be a passcode.
Alright, and George will be appearing on the 23rd, the comedy night. So if we like the material that he presented, great. Alright. Second comment here. Here we go. I have two questions for the meeting. The membership was informed last spring that the course had not been properly fertilized for several years. What funds have been budgeted for the proper maintenance of the course for this year and hopefully moving forward? Are we taking any other measures to improve the quality of the grass on both golf courses? Thanks in advance for answering these questions. So I think we answered that question, those questions in Gabe's report, but again, we've added almost $600,000 to the maintenance budget. We've added 4 or 5 FTEs. We are modifying our cultural and agronomic practices. We finally were able to get some of the fertilizer on the shelves, used herbicides. And Gabe will be able to implement his programs and his products based on all the data that we have and advice from our scientific group. Prior to last town hall meeting, I emailed the GM asking if the town hall presentation slides could be sent to the members for their review prior to the meeting. The slides were not sent, and I asked at the meeting that the slides for future town hall meetings be sent to the members prior to the meetings. Just give the team a deadline to finalize the slides 2 or 3 days prior to the meeting date. Last Wednesday, I emailed the GM asking if the slides for this meeting would be sent to the members prior to today's meeting, and if so, will this be the club's policy for future town hall meetings? If not, please let me know why. I did not receive a response to my email, and the slides were not sent to the members prior to today's meeting. Could the club please explain to the members why they are not sent presentation slides prior to a meeting, especially when financial subjects such as the budget are discussed? Meeting dates, town hall, annual are scheduled far enough in advance so that the slides can be finalized prior to the meeting dates and sent to the members. So this gentleman, I've had conversations with. We made a commitment at the last town hall meeting that in the future, the budget will go out in advance of the budget town hall meeting. We made a commitment and we'll deliver on that. I'm hopeful we can get that presentation and financial deck out 1 week in advance. We made an intentional decision to communicate more, to do these town hall meetings. We wanna get information out. We wanna communicate. We're really trying hard. The financial deck, just to be clear, will go out, the budget. These slides are not gonna go out in advance. They're just not. We had 8 committee meetings, in the last 4 or 5 days. We're trying to share up-to-date and pertinent information. I had members of the board here on Sunday working on these slides and making decisions on what was gonna be in, what was gonna be out. We were giving them an update on the committee meetings. I worked last night with a board member till 8 o'clock on tweaking the slide decks based on information that was coming in real time from committees. And sometimes we're just not gonna be able to do it in advance. It's my understanding, information never went out, or rarely went out in advance here. And honestly, it doesn't go out in advance at other clubs. We're not an anomaly. I'm trying to share as much information, the board's trying to share as much information in advance. I get the budget. We're gonna share the deck. We're gonna share the video. All members can watch it. But it's more important that we get the right information out, and if we have all these committee meetings and there's pertinent information we need to share, wanna share, we're gonna change and modify the deck. And we'll get it out after we have the conversation, but I think this is a great forum. I think we provided a good agenda, so you knew, generally speaking, what you could expect when you came to the meeting, but just to be clear and to set expectations, the membership will get the budget in advance, so you can review it, ask questions, and then these slides will be shared with the video after the meeting.
Okay, so for questions in the room, if you could just raise your hand and I'll walk over to you. Please state your name and speak clearly so everybody online can also hear you.
I'm Jerry Costello. I have a question about the pace of play policy. How literal will it be in the context of if I play tomorrow and I'm 4 minutes behind, am I gonna get a reminder that I'm in a group that's playing slow? Or will it take more than once for that to happen? And if I play 75 rounds a month, or in 6 months, and I get 3 reminders I'm gonna have, I'll be asked not to play for a week?
So the intention, we heard loud and clear from the members in the annual survey. And there's dozens and dozens and dozens of comments, and we get it every day, emails, comments. It's a huge dissatisfier for the membership. The members have told us, we want you to be accountable to a 4-hour pace of play. That's not my policy. That's not Rich's policy. We didn't just dream it up and say, hey, let's look for ways to inconvenience the membership, right? So we worked for 3 months, 4 months on a policy. And the members said, we want accountability. We want to hold you, Bob, accountable, Rich accountable, the team accountable, and we want a progressive discipline policy. So, there's gray area. At the end of the day, we want this policy to have teeth. We want there to be accountability. We want it to be progressive. But we are in the member business, so there's a fine line. So 4 minutes behind.
Get a notice, 1 round of 4 minutes behind? Well, first of all, if you're playing 75 rounds in a month, you're rigging the lottery system. No.
I mean, it's 6 months,
Yeah, no, sure, so, 4 minutes, I don't think, I mean, for those of you that haven't seen our screen or whatever, that we have to look at the golf courses. When it starts turning colors, I mean, everybody should be black, when it starts turning orange, but more importantly, red indicates more than 10 minutes. We would like to get, it's kind of like driving on I-75, right? You can have somebody slow down or somebody brake quickly or whatever, and it reverberates all the way back through the entire, mile or 2 miles of traffic. Same thing kind of happens at a golf course. We're there to help. We don't wanna say, hey, 4 minutes behind, buddy, better get your butt moving, or we're gonna kick you out of here, move you. So we're here to help, okay?
Yeah, I'm just wondering how literal this policy is gonna be managed, that's my own question.
Yeah.
I understand it, I don't like being slowed down,
Right.
waiting on people either, but will you get a notice every time you finish a round and you've been behind by 4 minutes?
I think there's probably gotta be a little higher threshold to
The
that.
policy needs some clarification.
It stands as written. The policy prior to the final, as of Saturday or Sunday, was 4 hours and 10 minutes. And the committee and the board said, no, it's 4 hours. So the policy is the policy, and we're gonna do our best to be diligent and manage the policy and the expectation.
So if it's not your call and you're gonna slip, you're gonna get penalized too, because it's not your fault that you're behind.
Correct, the entire foursome will get warned. And that's not, you know, that's not any different from any other club, like to try and determine in a 4-hour 18-hole round who is ultimately responsible. Unfortunately, what'll happen is slower players are gonna have a tougher and tougher time finding a game. Or they're going to have to play faster, right? Learn ways, see Rich, see the team, see Tom Patrick, player development, Holly. How can we play faster? How can we help ourselves, you know, are there tips? And so, but the majority of the members, this is not a subgroup, this is the majority of the members wanna play in 4 hours or less, and I hear you. Yes.
Pat McLaughlin, and just to help out on this one, the suggestion. So we have a system that goes apparently from black to orange to red. What would be helpful to members, I think, is if you could communicate what's built into the system, or how long does it take? How far behind do I have to be to go from black to orange? Is that 5 minutes? Is that 6 minutes? Is that 10 minutes? And then the next step. I think if you gave us more in terms of expectations, that would be helpful.
So it turns orange 1 to 10 minutes. When it exceeds 10 minutes, it turns to red. So, but it should indicate that on your GPS screen, right? I mean, you always know whether you're right behind or ahead. So, you know, and again, we know that we can tell usually, you know, who the culprits are or where that is as far as the golf course is concerned, so.
Question back here, actually, and I'll come back up later.
Bob Gilchrist.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I don't get up early enough to send the notes by email. I had 2 questions. The first question is, I'd like to know the reasoning for changing the dates that we can use the tickets for the Hole-in-One Club, because I believe we're spending our own money. I don't see the need for a change, or I'd like to understand why.
Okay, so there's a tremendous amount of pushback from members on the Hole-in-One Club. They're concerned about the number of holes and ones that we're having and why they're getting charged so many times in a year. We bill the Hole-in-One fund traditionally in January every year. And that's the month you can opt in or opt out. Clearly, you can't have people opting in and out. It's an administrative nightmare, and people will be in for the Hole-in-One Club and then get out of the Hole-in-One Club and they go home for a month or go home for the summer. So the decision was made to have it like our other annual fees, so you can opt in and out, but the run rate on the bar bill was causing so many billings where there was so much dissatisfaction, people wanting to come in and review the general ledger on drink charges and, right, this guy's getting a draft beer and this guy's getting a double, this guy's getting the highest end wine we have, like, so there was a lot of discussion on what should members be allowed to redeem for, and so it was determined any beverage other than a double shot beverage, and that 2 days seemed appropriate. Hole-in-One clubs across the country came about as an insurance policy, right? And it protects the member who has a hole-in-one from having to buy everybody in the grill or everybody in the club a traditional celebratory drink. It wasn't intended to be a week-long event. And I think those involved in the decision were aligned with, let's get back to a more traditional approach to the hole-in-one policy. And it was, again, passionately discussed for many months, and it wasn't a unanimous vote in the boardroom. So there were differing opinions, but that's how we got where we got, and that's why it's 2 days versus 7 days. I don't know any other club that has a 7-day open window for a hole-in-one coupon. And oh, by the way, we had abuse of the coupons. I understand people have been known to copy them. Go, redeem one here and then go down to the tiki bar and like it just seems like we landed in a reasonable place. But there was a lot of discussion.
Thank you. Sorry that people are so petty, they have to copy the cards. My second question is, I don't know the answer, but I'd like to ask. Are we experiencing more sales than we have in the past year? Seems to me we have a lot of homes for sale. And if we do, or if we're experiencing that, does the board have a feeling for why these people are leaving?
So Jenna Martinez does an exit interview and talks to members as they leave. I heard there was somewhere, I've heard different data points. I heard 23 maybe up for sale. Approximately. The industry standard is 5 to 7%. So what's that? 717 holes, 35, so. You know, we'll see and we'll be able to measure. It doesn't seem unreasonable at this point, but Jenna can speak to it.
Yeah, I think we are at about 20, I think it's sitting at 20 minus the ones pending, we're at 28, which honestly, this is the most I've seen in 3.5 years. I've only heard chatter, I'm not a listing agent, so I don't know why they're listing. We wouldn't get that data until they close, but some is, health is what some have told me. But also the expense, I don't know if they're not able to afford here anymore or that kind of thing, but that's only chatter. I don't have the data on those that have listed recently. And we just had this pop in the last month or two, so. We have those facts yet. Everything historically as far as exit interviews is really the standards, moving out of the area, going for family, that kind of stuff, nothing out of the norm that I've seen.
Mr. Gilchrist, I saw you put on here, I have a question I would like to direct to the board. Did you get your question answered?
Well, my question was gonna go to the timing of the promised accounting for phase 1.
Okay.
So that was gonna be, I was gonna ask the board to give us a commitment when we actually get it. I still don't think we have that, even though you expressed it, you talked about it on the slide.
Right, I think maybe in the first, maybe in the second membership town hall meeting, we posted a reconciliation at a high level. And it's, I mean, the amount of funding spent since then is trivial, so if you go back to that slide, we're pretty darn close. But again, when all the work is completed, we'll have a final reconciliation. And I can't imagine that we wouldn't have it by the next town hall meeting. But again, nothing here at Twin Eagles has been easy, so whether we can get all this building punched out and all the final reconciliation based on the candid conversation we're gonna have with the contractors, engineer and architect, I'm not gonna lock in on a commitment, cause it's gonna be what it is. And it's not gonna change what we do, but we definitely will get the membership to reconciliation, because it's the right thing to do. Mr. Piscatella.
May I put Rich, back on the spot?
Rich, you're on the spot, hot seat.
Rich, as you walk up, I will tell the room that I'm now gonna do something extraordinarily daring. And use my wife in this question. I will preface it by saying this is no longer applicable. So last winter, was Laura's first winter of golf. And I went into the pro shop and asked about the pace of play relative to new golfers, and the advice that I got was we had an unofficial rule that Sunday afternoons were basically intended to be slower, couples play, teaching people how to play golf, and we did that last year. And it was mostly successful, other than one time, probably, 4:00 on a Sunday. The group behind us clearly fired a couple of warning shots, and I went and said something, into the club, not to them, but to the push up afterwards, and said, what is the guidance? So now when I hear this pace of play, the question is, what is the guidance in terms of new golfers? Because what I tell you is, we never played, a 4.5 or even a hour round when we were playing at the beginning. But it certainly wasn't 4 hours, and it was 3:00 on a Sunday afternoon, and we were told at the time that was sort of the way we did things here, so has that changed?
What's the best way for me to answer that? I think it depends on, I mean, if there's nobody behind you.
Yep.
Then, no, I mean, obviously, I don't care that it takes you 4 hours and 30 minutes to play or 5 hours to play. When that becomes a constant, that when there are people obviously behind you, and it's the inability of you being able to play any faster than that, then obviously it becomes an issue. There's things we can do about that, right? Obviously, you can let the group behind you play through, right? Which I think probably should happen more often, but at the same time, we don't want to expect that. If it's 4 of you or whatever playing, if it's just behind you, and you can let them through and they'll be gone, but if you got groups in front of you too, I mean, we respect the opportunity for you to enjoy your experience as well. So, but no, I think it's just kind of common sense and logic, just kind of measure the situation and, again, if there's nobody around to pick up the phone and call me in the golf shop and say, hey, this group in front of me is holding it up. Enjoy yourself.
Okay, so then let me build on the question that the gentleman asked earlier. You're on a cart, you're being tracked, there's no one behind you. You play a 4.5 hour round. Do you get a letter?
No. No, and we can measure that, with the reports that we get from Pace Technology, so.
Perfect, thank you.
I'm Janine Bosworth. This is gonna skew from golf and everything, but towards our team members and food and beverage and the events that we do. We do a lot of great events. I think everybody can agree. Irina and her team do a great job in terms of golf. The events like the opening event, wine dinners. One of the things I'm not seeing in terms of communication this year is the feedback survey that you usually get the next morning that says, how did we do? And I think we're missing an area of opportunity for giving them the positive feedback of how great it is, and areas of opportunities they can also focus on, maybe for future events. So I want to make sure we're not missing out on giving the just due, and not only the food and beverage, but golf and wellness that we could have here as we have in the past.
Perfect, so we're looking at all the surveys right now, but to my knowledge, we haven't stopped surveying the major events.
Can I?
Yes.
So you are correct. We used to have pretty much every event we had a survey on, right? And some of the feedback we got is, what is with all these surveys? And so, yes, exactly. And so Bob's correct, we decided for the larger events to continue requesting the feedback and determining which events we really needed on. If we're doing an event that's weekly or just the best use of it, right? And so we're gonna continue with the large events, and then we are revamping the way that we do the golf surveys, because a lot of feedback we got last year was simply why it had a food and beverage component, this golf event didn't have food, you know. So we need to restructure the golf event surveys, and so we are working on that to implement something that's much better, to receive better feedback. Does that help?
But the food vendors, the wine dinners, the welcome back one, those are areas of opportunity.
Did you not receive one for the November 9th?
Nothing else.
Yeah. Nobody, so that went out, cause I got,
I haven't, so.
okay, then I will resend it. And then if you don't receive it, please let me know and I'll help you.
I just don't want them missing an opportunity.
Okay, and Irina has something to say. You're good, that's all right. Okay. Okay, good, and we had a question over here?
Yeah. I'm Susan Nikowitz, and I'm gonna continue to beat the pace of play thing to death. Just going back to what John's question was, if you're seeing, you know, the black, the orange, the red, and the 1 minute, the 10 minute, that's all super helpful. How does that work if you let someone play through?
So if, obviously, again, that's something that we can measure by looking at the map, so to speak, so. We have cart numbers, right, on that are, so the outside staff or the starter delivers us a sheet with all the cart numbers on. So we can tell when that happens. If we see that it continues to trickle back, and if the group that was played through doesn't necessarily, so how does it affect you as far as your pace of play is concerned?
Right.
For them, yeah, because obviously it's gonna add to it. Yep, so, yeah, we can tell, but we can tell through the report that you've basically moved in the succession of where you were, or how you went out onto the golf course. But we don't want you to continually, right?
Ruby Costello, has anyone besides me commented on the golf cart, parking being as far away from the starter as possible?
So we are, couple days, by the end of the week, there'll be an email going out with regard to a revised parking plan for this season. We're gonna have more shuttle activity in the parking lot for members. We are going to, on the wellness side of the building, the north side of the parking lot where the car parking is. We have stripe lines, parking areas on the north and south side of that run. We're going to, there's enough room that we could put stripes down the middle of it and still have an access runway on both sides. We'll be able to add 40 carts there. So that's gonna be striped. We're gonna put bollards in that area, just to designate that as cart parking, so we're gonna pretty significantly increase parking. We have engaged a civil engineer, on how we can maximize the parking space that we have. What are we missing? We're going to park team members more strategically. And we are going to encourage carpooling where it's possible, right? It always makes sense if, you know, you have 4 ladies coming from the same neighborhood or same street, if you can. To carpool, particularly January, February, and March. But there's gonna be more communication coming out on that topic. But for now, the car parking is scheduled to remain on that north side. But we can always, for valet, we can always pick you up, right? Just swing through the bag drop and we'll come get you unless there's a shuttle running during the middle of the day that you can see, so. Yeah, handicap parking. I know I get probably 5 or 6 emails a week on this car park here, in these handicap spots. So relative to the handicap parking, we really prefer that the lines in between the 2 car spots that people don't park carts there. Because what people don't understand is that we have vehicles that pull up, they have to get a wheelchair out. And if there's a cart there, there's no room in between the cars to get a wheelchair out of a car, and it's just not right. So we are trying to message to those people, don't do that, right?
Okay, so we,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
we have a question back here, and then we have a question up front, and then we're gonna ask everybody to please email, communications at the Twin.com. And then the board or Bob will be able to respond to you just for the sake of time, because I know everybody's hungry.
Hi, I'm Sue Cole. I have two questions. One is, I used to really rely on the upcoming registrations for the week. Because on the calendar, it tells you what is coming up, but it doesn't tell you when to register yet. So you have to go into the event to see, oh, you can't register yet, or whatever. So it was just very helpful each week to say, these are the events that you can register for this week. Just a comment.
Thank you for that, and I've talked to other members about the same issue. It'd be helpful to know when registrations are gonna open. The communications team has discussed this. I don't know if they landed on a new best practice or not. Amber, yes, no?
So the standard for all events is that they open 2 weeks out at 7 AM. So you can always count on that. With the newsletter, what we're trying to do is condense everything, to keep it, again, it's kind of 50-50. You send too many emails, you don't send enough. And so, with that, the email that used to go out on Sundays, that information is gonna be the newsletter, as well as push notifications. And so you'll receive a push notification. If you don't have the app, please download it. I'm happy to help you do it, help you sign in. Turn on notifications for that, and you'll receive a notice on your app that says, hey, it's opening today, as a reminder. Okay? Aria's correcting me that the major events are 4 weeks out.
All right,
That's
yes.
the question. We talked about fee-based clubs versus dues-based. Are we making money on the carts? Are we getting a profit from the rental of the golf carts?
Well, I'm sure. I mean, there's their cost. So the golf cart fee, and I think Bob Gilchrist brought this to my attention in one of my videos. He pointed out your mix and balance sheet and P&L, and he was absolutely right, because I messaged that the fee would go to offset the lease, but the lease is actually a capital lease, it's on the balance sheet. It's not an operating lease like it used to. GAAP accounting rules changed, I don't know, 5 years ago, so my bad on that, but look, at the end of the day, we tried to get the cart fee commensurate more with market, and we found we were woefully under in our cart fee compared to other clubs of our that are similar. At the end of the day, we have to, we have expenses we have to cover, and how we get there. If we can't get it in dues, we have to get it in fees, so that's where we started looking at all the fees and where we're under, and we tried to reset to get fees more commensurate with market to help cover the cost. But all the fees we're making money on, right? So I understand, but there's margin on every single revenue fee that members pay. So and it's all going to cover the costs, like nobody's profiting in this room, right? We're a break-even proposition, we're a 501c7, we're here for the benefit of the members, we're here to deliver a lifestyle experience, we have costs that we have to pay for, and if we can't pay for it with due revenue, we gotta find it with fees. So what's appropriate for fees? And, you know, we made determinations on what those fees were gonna be. But yeah, I mean, we're profiting on it. And maybe profiting is not the best word, but I mean, that revenue is going to offset costs. Yes, sir.
Yes, hi, I'm Scott Files. Back to the space of play, because I'm confused now. I've heard two different answers. Bob, from you, I've heard we developed a policy over months, got input from membership, and then we have a policy and we're going to enforce it. From the director of golf, I heard, well, there's gray areas, we're gonna use common sense, we'll see how it goes. So which is it? Do we have a policy or don't?
We do have a policy. And it's being implemented today. And in a perfect world, it's black and white. But we are in the people business, we are in the member business. And if it's August and there's nobody on the golf course and there's a foursome of golf and they're playing a couple balls or a husband and wife and one or the other is a new golfer and they wanna hit 2 balls and take 6 hours to play one afternoon and they're not holding anybody up. There's some degree of reasonableness, right? And we live in the as much as I wanna be a black and white guy, we gotta take care of our members. And we have to do the right thing. At the end, yeah. So, you know, Rich is trying to take care of members. And I'm trying to implement policy that the members want. And there's gonna be some rub, and we're gonna all learn over the next 30 days for sure.
Okay, we have our last question right over here.
Lisa Masters, this is for Rich and Bob as well. I wanna thank you for saying that you're reviewing in 90 days the cart policy, the cart fees and the walking policy. Rich, you must know off the top of your head, from when that cart leaves the barn and it goes out and plays 18 holes, what it costs us. We're supposed to make a profit. No, I'm getting to a point, don't worry. It could be $20. That's what the internet wants to say.
$10, 15,
Right.
20.
So the fee that's being charged for the cart, whichever we have to charge, the difference from the cost of the cart and what's being charged should be the walking fee. None of that was. And then on top of it, it's still the same wear and tear on our course, which requires people. I mean, if you wanna walk, great, but are you also comparing in this 90-day period how many rounds these walkers have played the year before? And how many they played January to April?
Yeah, we're measuring it granularly. We've got the spreadsheet set up. We're tracking year over year and we're going back to 2022. So we'll be able to see all the trends, all the data. Granular.
And the cannibalization to the revenue of the carts that are now not being used.
We're gonna look at the data and members can decide if it's cannibalizing or what that means, but we're gonna look at the data and everybody's gonna see it a little bit differently. I'm gonna finish with just a couple text messages. I recently learned from a senior member, team member, that we have been filling bunkers with top dressing sand. If it's true, is it true for all bunkers? Will we address that issue before we make a decision to make a more extensive investment? Unfortunately, that is true. Unfortunately, that contributed to some of the challenges we faced, not all. But rest assured, those that made some of those decisions are no longer here. And we have a new way forward and we're not gonna do things like that on a go forward basis. So yes, it's true. I'm not sure how the members got this information internally, but they did. Not that we're hiding anything, but we just, I just learned of it this past week. And so we're dealing with it, and it'll be a conversation, I'm sure, with the Green and Grounds Committee. But again, it won't happen again, those that did these types of things for, I'm sure, cost reasons. It's not the way high performing operations do things, and we're not gonna do that any longer. Well, that's good news, we got some utility carts coming. What has been the member feedback on the $200 family guest? $200 family guest fee that will be in effect January 1 to March 31st. I think everybody would prefer to have a discounted family guest program. Most clubs don't have family guest fees, they have guest fees that apply to all guests. We have a very liberal guest policy. This topic was reviewed at length in the T-Time Task Force, at the board level, in the budget reviews, and it was determined if we have a compaction issue January through March, and members can't get tea times, why should we be discounting the guest fee during that time frame? Let's keep the guest fee where it is. We'll do family guest April through December, and we'll implement a junior guest fee, which is now in place for junior golfers for grandchildren. I think it's under 18. 18 and I think it's 18 and under, so if you have grandchildren, you get a discount, but that's why that decision was made. All right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. We're gonna get the deck out to all the members and we'll get the video out. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your attendance.
We're gonna